Hey, hey,
Hey,
everybody.
hey,
My name
hey.
is G Brown, the lifestyle changer,
I'm Frederick Brown, the husband,
and you are hanging
hanging
with
with
the
the
Brown.
Browns.
Yes. Okay, so I'm super excited. And here's why. On our YouTube channel, honey, I don't know if you visit it often, but in my head and in my heart, I want to create a panel of videos. Yes, they have playlists. I understand that if we're cooking and all of that. But it is something about the first 30 days. And I think it's because it changed my life so much. And when we meet people, when we talk, I am talking about the carnivore diet, and then they want to know more. Well, you stand there and, and when you talk about only meat. So I'm designing a panel on our page where you and I did a video. And in that video, we just talked people on how to start this. Okay. Go home, go in your kitchen. I mean, we talked about those steps. And then we did an interview with Dr. Hampton, and he brought in the medical aspect of it. And then we interviewed with Dr. Chafee, which that too, y'all know Dr. Chafee. Dr. Hampton spoke keto carnivore, and Dr. Chafee carnivore. There's a young man on YouTube uh, that he melts my heart. I on purpose did not plan go and watch a bunch of his videos prior to this because I want to talk to him almost in a way as if he is going to share with me the first 30 days. What I love about him is that, just like the song says, we fall down, but we get up. And this young man gets up again and again and again. And he's such an inspiration. And so, for those that don't know, let me bring him to the stage. It is Carnivore Kipp.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
Oh man, that was awesome. Thank you for all those kind words. And I'm glad to be on here and chat with y'all tonight. And I see everybody in the comments. It's good to see y'all too.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Glad to have you. Glad to
Uh,
have you.
but listen, Kipp, I'm using you though. I'm being honest up front. I want to use you.
Okay.
Your story. And I think what really did it for me was I think like your big confession that you did. And then I remember I think it was like a 3 week break or something like that. And then I remember you came on the 24-hour live. And I think that was the first time you had just released your live where you were your confessions. Um, and then I saw you on there, and I'm like, oh, if I was just close to him, I'd give him a big old hug. I kid you not. Uh, all right. I know some people have heard your story. I want to key in, especially, like I said, for the people with the first 30 days, because I feel that once you make it past there, then you start connecting with communities and you start digging some information, but you have to have a big enough why. As Frederick would say, a why that makes you cry. And I know some people reach out to me because they want to lose weight. And I get them to acknowledge what's going on in their bodies. Whether your feet are hurting, whether you have swollen ankles, whether you have restless leg, fibromyalgia, high blood pressure, diabetes. So you might concentrate on the weight aspect of it, but it's the health. So start us off with your story. What is like, who's Kipp? What's your story?
Kip's a guy that grew up living in the South and eating junk food all the time. And, my parents were giving me sweet tea in my baby bottle whenever I was like a year old. And so I grew up on that, and I grew up on fried chicken and cornbread and all that stuff. And I still love country food to this day, but it was destroying my health for years. I mean, I've always been out of weight. I mean, overweight, out of shape. I was in kindergarten. I remember being like 107 pounds. I was over 300 pounds in middle school. And I've never weighed under 300 pounds as an adult. Like, actually, until, recently, I had never weighed under 400 pounds as an adult. And so, because I made it to almost 500 pounds, and I decided I wanted to start a family. And the little did I know, though, I was so far out of shape, I wasn't able to, do my part and pick up my daughter freely like I would like to. And I mean, I could pick her up, but it was like killing me just picking her up out of her crib in the morning time and, rocking her and things like that. It was awful to be right at 500 pounds and have a 9-month-old baby girl. And so that's why when you mentioned the why, like she had to become my why because, when it comes to weight, that's one thing. I wanted to lose weight, yes, but it's got to be more than the weight. And even now, I mean, I tell people, yeah, I want to lose weight and everything, but like you said, it's really about getting healthy. Because if you get healthy, the weight's gonna take care of itself. You'll get to your optimal weight in time.
Totally agree.
Another
Totally
thing
agree.
about you. Oh, go ahead, honey. You
No,
go next.
I totally no, I totally agree. I like what he said, but he did mention something about when he was a baby and what the parents or what his parents did in terms of feeding him, you know, sweet juices in a bottle. And I think we all have fallen victim that way. It's been a generational curse for us all for the most part. And you and I, baby, we've talked about this. How do we break this cycle? And he mentioned his baby. She's a doll. I've seen her. She's about two now, I think, Kip, right?
Yeah,
She's
she'll be
about two,
2 in
right?
like a week.
Yeah, she's a doll. And I was watching this video and I was looking at her and I was thinking to myself, you know, it's great that you are making this effort for yourself, but are you guiding her in a different way than the way
Compared
you were
to
brought up?
compared to okay, so I'll start by saying that she's not carnivore,
Hmm.
but I'll say that she's 10 times better than what I was when I was growing
Hmm.
up.
Okay.
Like,
Hmm.
I
Okay.
don't give she never drinks soda ever. She never, like, she drinks water every now and then, like, when we go somewhere, every now and then she'll get a juice, but we'll take the juice and put, like, this much juice in the bottom of the cup, just a little bit,
Hmm.
and then the rest of the
The
cup
rest
is
is
full of
water.
water.
Okay.
And but
Okay.
that's probably like a rare treat, but she normally just drinks water, but she really loves my LaCroix, the bubblies. She drinks those all the time. Like I always pick with my wife for her than you do for me because she drinks them all the time. And so it's
Right.
little things like that that I'm doing and just trying to feed her. I mean, she eats like carrots and broccoli and things like that, but my wife, she's not carnivore, so we've had to kind of find this little balance or whatever. And so we try to feed her healthy, which is way healthier than I ever had it as a kid, but not to the extreme that I'm going to do on this journey.
Okay.
Well, let me just say I tell people if you even if you're not ready for carnivore, one ingredient food. So, like you said, carrots, and I'm pretty sure you're doing a meat and
Mhm.
broccoli and a meat. And so, one ingredient foods that is good. But I want to take a moment and say that our parents did the best they could with what they had. Frederick's parents, mine, yours. Um, it to have sweet tea, sweet juices, that's what's in our refrigerator. Well, not technically now, but then that's what's in
Mhm.
our refrigerator. And guess what? If we were sitting there and we were eating, if you were in a high chair or somebody was holding you, at some point we give the chicken leg bone. There are just different things cut it, that's part of our family. So I didn't want to come across as, shame on our parents. I don't want to come across like that. So I just wanted to kind of throw that part out there. Um, so you are the only carnivore pretty much in your family.
Yeah, and that makes it tough.
Okay.
But
I
I'm hanging
that's what
with
I
it.
wanted to that's what I want to talk about. Because I want people to understand that this young man, and I say that because I'm turning 60, so I'm pretty sure you're a young man. Um, when I go in my refrigerator, there's water and there's maybe some meat with some salt on it, aging. We don't have temptations around the house. If Frederick, you get a sweet tooth or anything, which we really don't have that anymore, but there's nothing here. That's not the case for you. So people, it's like when you so-called slip up, it's different that if we went to, like Frederick and I, we would go someplace. It's right in the house with you. So I want you to know that you're doing a phenomenal job. This is what I want to know though. What's your end game?
At my end game, I mean, at the end, I want to be healthy. Like, I want to be able to be around for my daughter. I want to be able to dance with her at her wedding, which is going to be like 40 years from now. And,
Listen,
I want
she's
to be
getting
able
ready
to.
to be two, so she's gonna be 42, baby, when she get married. No, 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 Kip. Wait, let me guide you a little more. How long are you gonna be on the carnivore diet?
I honestly think I might do it for the rest of my life. I mean, there could be it there. I'm always open to the point that I may transition to like a little bit ketovore stuff eventually, like have some mushrooms occasionally or have some broccoli occasionally. But honestly, I don't miss that stuff. Sometimes I think about mushrooms, but most of the veggies and stuff that's out there, I don't really miss them. But right now, I know that my case was one of those situations where like I needed to make a drastic change. And when I tried keto before, I love the keto community. I push people to try keto if they don't want to try carnivore. But for me, all the treats and stuff, it kept messing me up so bad that like I needed to do carnivore.
Yes. Okay. And so I want to encourage you because I really do feel that you're going to remain this way. So even if you step off the line sometimes, uh, come right back. And I love the fact that believe you're in a challenge right now.
I am a
Tell
90
us
day
about the
challenge.
challenge.
Yeah,
Tell
it's
us
a
about
90
it.
day. What would you say?
Tell us about it.
So I needed to. So for about 2 months, I completely went off plan, and I put 60 pounds on. I was nervous even stepping on the scale at the first of the year because I knew everybody on the internet was going to see how much weight I gained, and it's embarrassing. And I felt the weight. I knew that the scale was going to be up. I didn't think it was going to be 60 pounds. I was thinking it was going to be like 40 pounds. But anyway, I stepped on the scale and I was like, you know what? I need somebody because I don't do challenges a lot with different people, but I was like, I need some people in my corner that are going to tell me that they're doing this with me, and that will give me strength to make it through. Because every time I post a video since then, there's always people saying, I've lost 5 pounds, I've lost 10 pounds, and I'm sticking with you. When somebody says that they're sticking with you, it makes you feel that sense of community and that you're not alone, and it makes it easier to keep going.
That is so true. All right. So you recommend, and I'm saying it again just in case someone, oh, okay. Hold on, Marvin. I starred you. Wait a minute. I'll get that. He wanted to know the name of the drink you was talking about. Um, so for me, I want people to know this is something that he's going to do for his lifetime. And if by chance that you end up eating something or doing something, come right back. Come right back. What you got to say, Frederick?
Well, I just want to continue to encourage Kip. And I was one of his latest videos I saw where he said that someone sent his wife a pair of shoes, some sort of walking shoes, and he also said that she was going to start walking. So I was, that kind of piqued my interest at that point. Is this something now that she's considering doing? Is she considering changing her diet as well? And even if not, the fact that she's considering walking means that she's moving a step towards where you are,
Yeah,
and
that's a good
so
question. Well, did you have something else you wanted to add to that before I answered it?
no, go ahead.
Okay. So I was going to say that's a good question. And so she's not to the place where she wants to do carnivore. She still thinks that's a little, out there, but she is wanting to make changes, and she sees the change in me, and she's
Mm.
even hinted to me, admitted that like low carb is a good option, and like because she had tried keto before, but she didn't do it for a while. I told her, I was like, you just need to stick with it for a little bit, because keto and carnivore, both of them, when you do it for a little while, once you get past like that first month or whatever, it starts getting a lot easier. And so I'm trying to, work with her and things like that. But she knows that she would kill me if I put her number out there on the scale or whatever,
No,
but
no,
she
no,
knows that
no.
she has some weight to lose, and she's wanting to work on that, and she's wanting to walk with me some, but she has a little bit of issue with one of her knees, and so she can't go crazy walking, but she wants to start out just walking a little bit and slowly increase it some.
Okay.
Well, I love that. That's some excellent news. Yeah, if she reduces the sugar and the carbohydrates, it's going to be much better.
Mhm.
And we all know that. We are at my heaviest. I was 260. So,
Mhm.
and I'm 5'3". on
Yeah.
with no shoes. I'm like probably 5'2.5". So that was a lot of weight for me to carry. Okay, tell us, what do you eat?
Oh, it's pretty simple. But it's really not what I'm eating, it's the way I'm cooking it that helps a lot, because I'm always smoking meat, and I'm always grilling and stuff like that, and it takes a steak that's a 10 and it puts it up to a 20, and and so that's
Would
what I
you
think.
please repeat that for Mr. Brown? Oh my God. He
Yeah, like, because people always do their Instapots and their air fryers and all that stuff, and I'm telling you, it ain't the same.
Yeah.
Like, it's man, like in the beginning, when man and woman first figured out how to make fire, they were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
And because when you cook over that fire, and I cook over wood all the time, and charcoal and stuff, it's just, I mean, there's nothing like it. And so, and that's what helps me. You mentioned being at the house earlier with my wife. That's one thing that helps me when I'm here at the house, is because even if she's eating something that's not on my plan, I can make that steak taste so good on the grill that what she has doesn't affect me. But I'm learning that my trigger is when I'm not at home, actually. Whenever I'm out and I'm driving around, like if I'm in the city for the day or something like that, and I'm far away from the house and I don't have a snack with me or something like that, and I'm seeing the restaurant signs, and I'm like, man, that would be good. That would be good. That I remember tasting those donuts and all that other stuff. And so then I catch myself in a bind, and that's when I want to slip up.
Yeah. Now, key operable word though. You said you want to slip up,
Hmm.
but you really haven't slipped up. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? You want
Well,
to?
I had one meal off plan. I had one before. I had Okay, the second half of last year was terrible because I kept constantly slipping up. But then, and when I say slip up, it wasn't just like a one meal and then get back on for a month and then have one meal and get back on. It was like I would be off plan for a week and then I would start back, and I'd be off plan for a week, and you can do a lot of damage in a week. And so, but this year so far, I've had one off plan meal, and thankfully, with it just being that one meal and I was able to bounce back and just forget it. I told myself the next morning when I woke up, I said, look, yesterday is gone. It's in the past. I can't change it. So I went right back to eating the meat and knowing what I need to do. And so far it's been great just doing that, because last year whenever I would slip up for a day, it would be a whole week. So I'm proud of myself for just keeping it to that one meal.
Awesome.
How about I had the wrong? Why y'all didn't tell me I had the wrong thing scrolling across the bottom? I'm like, his name ain't Kent. Sorry about that. All right, I want to go back to how do you fight your own kitchen? And I
Well, I
think
mean,
this part is going to be for those, if you are, because we have one person in the comments that's talking. That's one of the things Christine is talking about, how, people bringing in donuts and all of that. And I know I'm with you on that, because I'm with you on you riding around and seeing these different places, because that's how drive-through gets most of us anyway.
mhm,
But you have a full kitchen.
mhm.
So so now you're kind of talking to the people where they might have just started, a spouse is doing it and the other one isn't. How are you handling walking into your kitchen?
Well, because I like all day when I'm at work, I already have in my mind what I'm gonna be having for supper that night. And so I love to grill. And so I'm excited while I'm at work. I'm like, I can't wait till I get off work, because I get to fire up my grill and then I get to cook a steak, or I get to cook whatever it is. And so I get excited about that. So when I come in, I'm like, let's go fire up this grill and do that. And like I said earlier, when you can make a steak so good on the grill that regardless of what she's eating, I'm good. Because honestly, when she's eating her stuff, she'll look over at my steak and be like, man, that looks good. And so that's what helps me. And a couple days ago, I smoked a bunch of burger patties. And see,
Mm.
whenever you form them yourself, they're better. And then when you smoke them, they have so much moisture inside of them. And so I did that, and I've been eating them at work all week for lunch.
Okay, so Kip, let me just let you know now. I'm the person that's normally outside. I'd have booted my husband off the grill because, number one, he prefers gas over charcoal. And
That's a
oh,
sin.
would you let him know he's committing a sin?
Yeah.
And so last year, for my birthday, he bought me a charcoal grill. And I have to say, I think this is like the best, besides the barrels and all that other stuff where people can actually make their own. But what he did for me was really good. I have a small smoker. And so now when I smoke, I allow it just to cool off, and then I bring the meat in and finish it in the oven. I said, uh, I think that if I had someone that liked the meat like I do, he don't care, that I would have a larger smoker. And so, I mean, we have the Blackstone. So he's taking care of me with the cooking type things, but he's not crazy about the charcoal. And I'm like, I know, look,
That blows my
look,
mind.
that his mouth is watering. I know.
Are you
So
okay when you cook with the charcoal? Are you using like lighter fluid and stuff like that to get it lit, or are you going like more old school to get your charcoal lit? Like they make like
we
so
tumbleweeds and stuff like that.
okay,
we
so I
bought
have
match
three.
light.
No, he does. I Kip, listen to me. So I have both. I have the match light, the brisk things, and I have my wood. And so normally, I will put the briskets in a bag, saturate the bag, and then light the bag. So what? Look, don't give us your secrets, Kip.
Well, I mean, the best type of smokers is the ones that you were talking about, the barrels, the big wood
Mhm.
smokers. They call them stick burners, or they also call them offset smokers. That's the best. But if you're not going to do that, a lot of people don't have the time and the patience to learn that. That's like really barbecuing the food. But if you're
I
not going to do
will.
that, then charcoal will be your next bet. And there's different options for doing that. But if you're going to use charcoal, I prefer lump charcoal to get the best flavor. It's the closest to wood. And then I never,
Look at
ever,
me
ever
writing it
use
down.
it's lump charcoal.
Hmm.
And I never use lighter fluid at all. Like I will they sell these thing called chimney starters, and you can
Hmm.
put the charcoal in that, and then you can light it with like a little tumbleweed or a little lighter cube underneath it and get it lit that way. I also have a huge like flamethrower that I can get it lit like that if I want to. But that using that technique to me makes the food have a better taste, and it doesn't have chemicals and all that stuff in it.
Okay, hold on, hold on,
Okay,
hold on.
I
Kip,
agree.
hold on,
Wait a minute.
stop, G, stop. Kip lives in Alabama in the
Yeah.
woods, right? We live in a subdivision. You can't go starting a fire like this in a subdivision, right? I can
You
see
have my
you now.
blowtorch outside.
Yeah.
Yes,
No.
yes.
Hey, if I lived in a subdivision, I would.
I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm gonna look into the lump. And I just told him that I was out of lighter fluid, so I'm in agreement with you. I really don't like putting the lighter fluid um, on the food,
I
but
forgot one more thing too. Whenever you
uh-huh.
get lump charcoal, you can also buy wood chunks, not chips, not the little bitty chips. They don't produce as good of a flavor. Get the wood chunks. They're like hunks about like that size. Some of them smaller,
Hmm.
some of them bigger. And you just put 2 or 3 of them in there where the charcoal is. Not don't put a lot because it'll over smoke your food, but it'll add that smoke flavor, kind of like what you get using a real smoker.
Okay, and I normally do. I have the chunk wood, and I put that in as well. Yeah, so I have my little mixture and stuff going. When I smoke, I have the mixture in there, and also when I'm barbecuing as well. Okay, so barbecue for here in North Carolina, don't get me started. It's not like
Barbecuing and
us
smoking's
barbecue.
the same, but grilling's different.
Correct,
Grilling's when you're
correct.
using the high heat, cooking over the coals, but smoking and barbecuing is the same.
Yes, yes. Uh, I want to talk about your flavored drinks. The question came up. Let me grab it real quick and put it here. He Marvin Stevenson wanted to know what was the drink that you said and that your daughter liked.
Well, they're actually not flavored. I use plain carbonated water, and sometimes I use a soda stream and make it myself because that's actually the cheapest way that I found to do it is buy a soda stream and just pump it a couple times and make the carbonated water and drink it. But I also buy LaCroix unflavored. It's called LaCroix Pure. And then there's also a brand called Bubbly. They have a pure kind as well. It's in like a blue box, so it doesn't have any flavorings in it at all. But and the only reason I do that is because for me, and I'm not saying this for everybody. Now, my daughter, I would let her drink the kind that has flavorings because she doesn't have years and years of issues like I have with sugar and things like that. So for me, when I have a little bit of flavoring, like it makes me want more flavor in the next day, and then eventually it makes me want to get regular drinks and chips and cookies and all that stuff. So it's better for me to just have plain water or plain carbonated water with no flavoring in it. And if I was like in a situation where I was like dying to have some type of flavoring, which usually I never am, then I would just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice in it.
Okay. Uh, at what point in this diet, no, this lifestyle, um, do you feel, or did you feel, or it just really never happened, that the cravings stop? So, so let me just speak on me. I watch cooking shows so much, probably more now than I did. And I think there are times when I'm watching and I'm like, oh, look at this sugar. Oh my God, we were just really causing harm to ourselves. Or I watch a show, it's like, I know that would make my hip hurt. Oh my God, I can feel the pain now. So I'm looking, so yeah, so that doesn't bother me. And normally, if I get a craving, Kip, I really don't even think I get those to that degree. So, do you feel that part of that is because you can walk into your kitchen um, and possibly see something and have a desire for?
Well, I mean, I be having access to food like in my kitchen that's not carnivore, and having enough willpower early on to like say no to it, doing that consistently helps me to build up the strength to say no. But at the same time, I feel like um us humans, I mean, we're all a little different, but we're still the same as well. So what works for me a lot of times will work for you. And so I think time is the big thing. Like the longer that you're strict, the easier it gets. So the more you're on plan, um, it's like the cravings get less and less. Like I've noticed even now, within the first few weeks, the cravings of starting back within the first few weeks, the cravings pretty much went away. And then now it's only certain times when I'm out driving and I see those certain signs that it'll just be that split moment. And what happens is you get those little dopamine hits. You remember, oh, that's what that tastes like. That's what, even when you're watching your cooking show, you get the, man, just seeing that food sometimes will get your mind going in certain ways and cause, I don't know all the scientific stuff, but it causes some type of reaction in your body
Hmm.
and it's like your body's getting ready to eat it even though you're not. And so
Okay.
and so the the more you can go without seeing food like that, the better. But I know that we live in the real world, and I have to sometimes go to a restaurant, and there's non-carnivore foods there and stuff like that. But the longer you're on this plan, that's why I try to tell people, early on, commit to at least 30 or 60 days or whatever you got to do that says, I'm not cheating, no, or I'm not going off plan no matter what. Because if you can get to that, even if you have to do it a few minutes at a time, like if you have to do it 30 minutes at a time and an hour at a time, however you have to do it, you dig deep and dig as deep as you have to make it those first 30 days. And day 31 will be pretty easy.
Yeah. One of the things that we do quite often, Kip, is my family has these regular gatherings where we eat out, and but they don't, they've tried carnivore and decided that it wasn't for them, and but they don't put any pressure on us. As a matter of fact, even some of the restaurants, they keep us, they consider
Amen.
our eating habits when they're selecting restaurants, making sure that we can get the types of food that we desire. And this past weekend we were at a restaurant, a Chinese buffet, and
But they
I
had the
was very
hibachi
disappointed.
grill.
Yeah, they had that, didn't have any fat, so it was still tough for us. And I was looking at my wife, and we were like, okay, let's stop by this store and grab a couple of ribeyes on our way home, right? But but it's like we're looking at these foods, and sometimes I
And
look at
pay
them.
$40 for it.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I look at it, and it's like thinking about the pain that I experienced about a year ago. A year ago this month, well, actually a year ago, January, where I was alternating between a walker and my mother-in-law's walker and a cane because of gout and inflammation in my ankles. And when I think about those kinds of things, when I look at the foods that causes the inflammation, I don't get tempted to eat it. That's just me. because my why was such that I would literally cry when trying to walk. And,
Mhm.
maybe sometimes it takes getting to that point, but you're a young man, we're older. And when I was your age, I didn't have those kinds of pains. But at this age that I'm at now, I do. I have them, and I don't like them, you know. And so I'm not saying that I don't want to eat certain things, but when I think about what it does to me, it gives me that added strength to keep moving forward. And at first, my wife and I, we were so strong about it. We were really trying to convince our family to do it, and we just kind of gave up. I mean, we're at the point where we just say, okay, we've given you the knowledge, we've planted the seed. You're watching our transformation, and it's your ultimately your decision, and that's all we can do as carnivores, right? We just have to sow the seed and hope that those that are looking at us can see the transformation and decide that this is something that they might want to do themselves. But you got to have that strong why. You got to have that strong why. And we always ask that question. And if the why is just to lose weight, to me, that's not strong enough, because that one is easy for you to say, okay, forget this. I'll come back later. But if your why is such that you can't walk, you can't get out of bed, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you're feeling this pain, then that's a different kind of why to me.
Mhm.
And that's what we really, really try and talk about when we're sharing our journey with others. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would add to what you're saying and say that for me, I feel like last year I was doing so well, and because I used to have shoulder pain, and it hurt all the time, and I would take ibuprofen and stuff like that every day to try to help with it and move it and stuff like that. But whenever started this carnivore journey, about maybe a week or two in, the pain automatically started going away. But the thing was, the farther you get away from that pain, sometimes it's easy to forget what it felt like, and forget about all those ailments and all those different things, because you're becoming healthy again. And so what I try to tell people now, or I want to tell people, is like, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget, the struggles that you had and how bad it hurt getting out of bed, and how high your blood pressure was, and how what your A1C was. Don't forget those things, because we can get so healthy and do so well on this journey that we forget. And what happens is, I became complacent. Like, I was like doing so well. I was like, man, I'm good. And then you start playing these mind games like, man, I've lost over 100 pounds. Now I can have me a cheat meal, right? Because I've done good. And you got to watch that stuff. And there's games that people's minds play with them all the time. So remember the pain that you had. Never forget it. If you have to, write it on your bathroom somewhere and say your shoulder used to hurt or your whatever used to hurt, to help you remember where you came from.
right, right. I totally agree. And let me just say this to you, Kip. I've watched a lot of your videos. I watched your journey, and I just really want to commend you for what you're doing. You are an inspiration to not only me, I'm sure thousands of people that have watched you. You are truly an inspiration, and just keep it up, man. That's all. Just keep going. If you fall, get up, and keep going.
He
Dust
does.
yourself off. Dust
That's the
yourself
great
off.
part.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question. When you have your okay, what medical type ailments have you reversed? And when you and share that, and then what happens when you veer off? Is it ever the side, just answer it. Yeah. So what ailments were you able to turn around from this last past year? And then if you do step off, do you start feeling, or, there's a reversal in it? If my
Yeah,
question makes
absolutely.
sense.
So, I was a type 2 diabetic and I had arthritis. I had went to see like different therapists or whatever. I'd actually did physical therapy on my shoulder and went to seeing like the orthopedic doctors and all that stuff for arthritis in my shoulder. And I shouldn't have even had arthritis in my shoulder at the age I was. I was only 28 or 29 years old at the time. And so, and then I also had high blood pressure, and I've since starting carnivore, I reversed type 2 diabetes. I actually reversed type 2 diabetes in 4 months, and
Awesome.
which was amazing. And
Yes.
my blood pressure slowly and slowly has been going down. It's not to the point where it's just like, oh, perfect right now, because I still have some weight to lose, but it is to the point where I'm not taking blood pressure medicine right now and I'm doing fine. And it's a little bit high, but it's not high enough that I'm going to keep taking the medicine right now. And so I'm off the blood pressure medicine, and my shoulder doesn't hurt at all anymore. What's crazy is if I have something that's a little bit off plan, the next day I know about it. Like if I had like, that margarine butter that's not the real butter, if I have
Hmm.
that, the next day my shoulder hurts.
Mm.
And so and of course, like if I go way off the rails and have fried chicken and all that stuff, man, my shoulder will be killing me the next day. And so as soon as I get back on plan within a couple days, all that stuff corrects itself. So right now I'm in a great place just being on plan. And I'll say when I was off plan for now, whenever I went off plan for like a couple days or up to a week, my shoulder was hurting overnight, but I didn't notice symptoms with like the diabetes coming back in just a week's time. But whenever I was off plan for 2 months, about a month into the 2 months, I started getting the shakes again like I used to. And my sugar would bottom out. And then I would eat breakfast, eat a huge meal for breakfast. And then I couldn't even hardly make it to lunch. And I would want another meal. And now, I can eat lunch if I want to, or I always skip breakfast, but I could skip lunch. I could probably just fast till tomorrow and it's not a problem, because all that stuff has got regulated by eating this way. And so things have gotten so much better.
Yeah.
So
And
are you
so,
saying are you
oh, go ahead.
are you saying are you saying that you eat 2 meals a day? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, right now I'm eating 2 meals a day. I eat lunch. I'll normally eat about maybe a pound and a quarter for lunch, and then I eat probably about a pound and a quarter to a pound and a half for supper. I would say I probably eat about 2.5 pounds of meat a day. And
Okay.
sometimes I'll throw a little butter on top of that too.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Okay.
baby.
Okay. No, I was going to say, yeah. So, for me, my very first episode, uh, oh, well, let me just back up. When Frederick started the carnivore diet, and then I started 2 days later, I was vegan prior to the carnivore diet. So I was like,
I'm
I'm not
sorry.
eating meat. What are you talking about? Pow, pow, pow. And so, and I don't like the smell of beef. So, like, if you just boil, or not boil, but even in a slow cooker or anything, that smell there, it has to have a smoke flavor or something to it, because beef smell by itself, I don't like. And that's what I told Frederick. I said, maybe I'll start with lamb or something like that, because no, I had no idea, none whatsoever. I knew my body hurt, and I knew I had these things that I was going to the doctor for. But Frederick couldn't walk. So these little things that they tell you anyway when you get ready to turn 35, 40, and you buy, oh yeah, once you hit 40, no, once you hit 40, your body can just no longer handle what you've been putting into it. And so I didn't know my stuff was going to turn around.
Mhm.
That blew me away. And so I'm watching my husband now. pain-free, getting off of medication. I had just took myself off, but I was on high dose Percocets for 3 years. I was getting back injections. I was getting all these different things. And then all of a sudden, I remembered the day that I got out of bed. And when I did that, because there was always this whole show that I had to do to get out of bed because my body ached so bad. Oh my God. And now this isn't happening. So I decided I'm a sauce monster. So I decided to have some barbecue sauce. I was like, a little sauce is not gonna, just a little. And when I say a little, it was probably not even a fourth cup. It was a small, just 2 days my hip hurt me. I'm glad that it happened because once that happened, I knew, first of all, I couldn't have barbecue sauce. And I ain't gonna lie, I tried again. And sure enough, the flare up came back. So I was like, I'm done with that. But I told Frederick, I don't know what will set me off. I don't know what will cause the pain to come back. And the pain doesn't come back for a minute or a moment. I'm working 1 to 2 days in pain for just a few moments, in your mouth. And so, yeah, that didn't balance out. And I think that's the reason why I can watch shows and it's like, oh, I know that would hurt me. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I can watch those because I don't know what'll set me off. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I was asking, did you have any issues? And then when you get off plan, what's
my
happening.
Shoulder.
So people,
my shoulder, when I get off plan, my shoulder hurts so bad that pain is a motivator. And whenever you have pain constantly and you know what the solution is, you'll get tired of that pain and you'll start doing whatever it is that it takes to get out of that pain. And so I know when I go off plan, my shoulder's going to start hurting and it's not worth it.
Not at all. Yep. Not at all. I am going to scroll over. Okay. And then I'll get you to do something at the end. So back here, Christina, let me see. I have so much sympathy for Kipp. I'm the only carnivore in the house. My son keeps bringing donuts, pizzas, and burgers home. It's okay if I'm in the right mindset. But if I'm feeling a little bit low, we understand, sweetie. We understand. And Frederick and I have it easy. It's him and I, and we both carnivores. I did a show where I was throwing the food out in the trash.
That's a blessing. Y'all blessed that y'all are both on the same plan.
It really is. It really is. And then I even amped it up this month. Well, I actually started on the 30th. I'm lying this month. Ooh. I want to see. Yep. And then on Monday evenings, I'm on with a panel of ladies. So we're all, Laura was lying anyway, but the rest of us are doing it for the month of February. And we're going to see, for our bodies. So far, it's going great. For me, Laura showed me how to make my own ghee. So I'm pulling those impurities out. And let me tell y'all something. You better hear this. Kerrygold butter. I do a salted and an unsalted stick. That's from the heavens, honey.
I'm telling you. I'll just take me a bite of it just straight up.
Yes. Yeah. So so what I've done is I have some tallow that when I smoked some lamb and some beef ribs. So I got some beef tallow, ruminant meat tallow, and it has the smoke flavor in it. Man, I'll get a spoon of that and that ghee and that's like steak sauce. I done figured it out, y'all. You've
been watching some barbecue channels, hadn't you? It sounds like you've been watching some barbecue channels doing all that.
You would think. No, it was, you know what? it was somebody was talking about the carnivore mashed potatoes. That's where that came from. And then I was like, wait, so now I've been whipping up so much tallow. It's around, and making my own ghee. It is I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay, so Christine says she signed up for your challenge. Yep, and she's had mainly good days, except for I think she talked about some donuts uh earlier up in there. They had their conversation and stuff going. Thanks guys for being here. Marvin, do you have any additional questions? Marvin is a gentleman. Ain't no gentleman. That's a brother from another mother. We've known each other almost as long as Frederick and I have been married. I think we almost going back like
No,
20 years.
we met them at church shortly after we had joined.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we inbox one another, and he's on this journey, and I'm speaking for him, and that's part of the reason why I asked you even some of the questions wasn't necessarily just for him, but this journey going. It's okay. It's like walking across the ice, because we've been taught so much where you just kind of, yet holding on. And it's okay if you slip and fall. Get back up. Get back up. I kind of put the carnivore diet in with, here's an analogy for people, multi-level marketing. A lot of times, whether it's Avon, whatever, I'm thinking of some from the old times, Tupperware, because I ain't trying to call any of the new ones out. When you sign up as an independent consultant, no matter what multi-level marketing. It's nice to have a coach. I hear so many people give up on the side business that they have. My sponsor didn't help me. You are an independent consultant. So with that, when you come into, yep, Amway, when you come into the carnivore community, you're responsible for yourself. But we're all here as a team. But you have to want this. You have to want the pain to go away, the prescriptions to not take, and then not deal with the side effects. One of the things I tell Frederick with a side effect was dry mouth that he used to have. He talked, every time I turn around, he was like, I need some water. My mouth is dry. And I said, it has to be the reaction to one of these medications that you're on. I've never heard anybody mouth just like cotton all the time. So some of the things that people are dealing with are side effects to medications that you're taking. So I appreciate you so much. Take a moment, because I know a lot of times, and we're going to close out, take a moment. The Amish butter. Oh my goodness. She's talking, where do I find that butter? Because if it's all right, take a moment. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean to hit the next one. Wait a minute. Let me stop. Take a moment and talk to that person that, because I want to concentrate in these first 30 days, that maybe feel that, the carnivore flu is too much. I don't know if I can keep doing this. What do you mean meat? What do you mean I got to do just meat? Wait, I can't have this. I can't. The mindset. Talk to that person to help them get through the first 30, 60, and 90 days.
Well, I mean, I've done it twice, and I've learned that, okay, so if they want to make it really, really easy, use extra electrolytes and things like that early on, especially in the beginning when you're first getting started. Use whatever brand you can find, as long as it's got clean ingredients. I'm not going to start naming a bunch of brands right now.
Right.
But anyway, do that. But I'll say this: for me, I was able to do it both times without electrolytes. And what's crazy is whenever I take electrolytes, I start to like get a little bit of headaches. And so I would say, you can do it. Just find a way that what works for you, whether it be electrolytes if you want to try that, or no electrolytes. But if you're not going to do electrolytes, do like me and just make sure you're heavily salting your food, and you got to be eating plenty of fat, like fatty meats. You're not buying chicken breast and things like that. You're eating fatty steaks or chuck roast or bacon. The things that are on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, they all have a good fat ratio. That's the reason Dr. Berry made the BBB&E and named it that, because beef, butter, bacon, eggs all have a great fat ratio. And so do things like that. But I'll tell you, the little bit of trouble that you might have with the restroom and feeling tired and all that, it's gonna be worth it. You can do anything for a month. You can just commit and do it. If you can make it those first 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, most people say, I've got it whooped now, because that's the hardest part, is in the beginning, dealing with the diarrhea and dealing with things like that people deal with. But if you can push through that, I'm telling you, it is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And you're going to be so glad that you did, because now everything with the restroom is normal for me. I don't have headaches. I feel great. My energy level's up. Losing weight's just a bonus. Like, that's a bonus, but the other health benefits and everything, it's worth it. You just got to give it a try and go for it. But other people have done it before you. So you're human like I am. You can do it. You just got to give it a try.
Great.
And then I want you to talk about April 6th.
Oh man, I'm excited about that. Like, like I love to smoke meat and I love to grill and things like that. So I'm like genuinely excited to show everybody what I can do, because I've been cooking barbecue for years. And the people that are coming, I'm having a barbecue meetup in South Alabama, and we're going to have brisket, we're going to have pulled pork, we're probably going to have some leg quarters because they're not very expensive. I'll probably smoke some of them, and then I might smoke some sausage too. And it's going to be free for everybody. So come on down to South Alabama and I'll show you how I cook barbecue, and you ain't going to be mad at it.
Frederick and I did talk about it, and it's like I got some other stuff coming up, but who knows? The Browns might just pop up, because I know I know we need to tell you ahead of time, but even if I came and there was no meat,
I'll save 2 spots for y'all just in case.
No.
Because I would love for y'all to try my barbecue. And I know y'all live in the Carolinas, so y'all probably know good barbecue, and this is legit. Like, I see people that like they try to cook barbecue and all this other different stuff, and I'm not like this cocky, overconfident guy, but I am when it comes to barbecue. I know that I can cook barbecue well. And so I'm excited to cook it for everybody, and I want everybody to eat as much brisket as they want.
Well, that is a perfect place to stop. Thank you, everyone. Listen, Carnivore Kipp, make sure, but I think a lot of the folks on here are already subscribed to your channel. I love and appreciate you. And we're going to be around, let me see, in 50 years, have another cookout. Because
Absolutely.
that's the great part. I know I'm going to be here. You're going to be here. It's like you're starting to age in reverse. And I love this lifestyle. I love it, love it, love it.
Oh, yeah, I believe that we're adding years onto our life for sure by doing this. And I think we'll be around for way longer than what a lot of people in the health community believe because of these decisions that we're making now. We're going to change a lot of people's lives. And it's not necessarily going to be just the big channels. It's going to be smaller channels like mine and different smaller channels, because they add up and they reach a lot of people. And look, I appreciate, and I did put a link to y'all's channel in my description of this video. So whoever's watching on my channel, when we get done, y'all go subscribe to their channel as well. And I appreciate y'all spending time and talking with me, and it gives me motivation to keep going.
It was a
Well,
pleasure, Kipp.
and I want you to know that you motivate. You really, really do, because this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. And you're doing this for your life, for your family. You will hold your great grandchildren, and you'll be able to run, and you'll be able to throw a ball. You'll be able to do those different things
Mm-hmm.
because of the hard work that you're doing now. And I won't even say hard work, because of the good cooking that you're doing now.
That sign back there, y'all can't really see it right now, but it says the fat in my family tree ends with me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I don't want my daughter to suffer like I did. I don't want her to go through what I did when I was growing up, always being overweight. You can't play these certain sports. You can't go ride rides at Six Flags. You can't do all these things because you're out of shape, you're overweight, it's terrible. Like, people weren't designed to weigh 500 pounds. And so I'm doing this so that whoever's born after me knows, hey, Kipp did this, or Pawpaw or whatever did this, and I can do this too.
Let me leave you with one thing, Kipp. There's a young lady, one of the feline, ferocious felines, Rebecca. Take some time, sit down with your wife, and go take a look at their channel. It's called Carnivore Family, and it's a family of 10. The youngest child is 2. The oldest is 15 or 16. But there's a gamut, right? And they're all carnivores. And I asked you that question early on about your daughter for a reason. I listened to you. You express what you wanted to do, and I want to make sure that, yes, you're doing the right thing, but as a family collectively, that you being the head of the house say, okay, baby, look here, this is what's going on. Look at this family, look at what they're doing. Because I think it's critical. I think it's critical that you don't allow your daughter to get these sweet taste, the sweet taste in
Absolutely.
her mouth, So I'm not saying make a carnivore, but at least know
But
that
that's what he said.
there's some things that can be done. And that family, carnivore family, they are a perfect example of how to help your children transition to this lifestyle. Again, from 2 to 16 is 8 of them, 8 kids. So
8 kids, and they all do
yeah,
it for the dad.
yeah.
Well, that's what
So
started it. And like, she is on the panel with us Mondays at 7. We have a nurse of over 20 years. We have Rebecca. Laura's the nurse. Rebecca is the Carnivore family. It's 10 of them. And so for me, what was that transition? Like, we interviewed them, but I just want people to know, and the other ladies, Robin and Rebecca as well. But I want people to know there are people in the community. It is where you have a family, there's someone. Kipp, he's the only one in the household. So just, living this life,
right.
sharing, opening up, letting people know. For hanging with the Browns, that's exactly what you guys do. You all hang with us. This year, 20 years married, and we got a lot planned for 2024, and we taking everybody with us.
Congrats on the
So,
20 years.
oh yes, can you imagine 20 years with me? That's why I believe this.
Bless him. No.
Yes. All right, everybody. We're going to tune out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the ones that come and check out Hanging with the Browns. And don't forget Carnivore Kipp. Let's keep him uplifted on his journey. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.